Because he does everything.
Was there a shirt after any of the answers switching identity?
Hi.
Fucking works now.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I've watched about 4 episodes of She-Hulk. I said the last time that my third video about the show was my final one, and then I wouldn't make another one. And technically, this is true because I'm not alone this time.
Still your video though.
Yeah, but you are in it, so technically I didn't lie. You suffered through the whole show.
Yep.
And lots of opinions. So let's get the good stuff out there. Tatiana Maslany, I really like her. I liked her in Orphan Black. She's a very good actress. Sadly wasted in this show.
I agree with that.
Mark Ruffalo is in it. He's kind of nice in the first episode. The first episode is also pretty good of establishing everything. And from my side, that's about it.
As in the good things.
Yes.
I agree with the actress. I like her. I think she's nice. I like Daredevil. I'm into it. I like Daredevil. What else is good? Trying to think of everything that's happened. I did actually like the lawyer scenes, the parts where she actually was performing as a lawyer, similar to how Daredevil does. I actually liked that bit, where it wasn't about being She-Hulk and it wasn't about superpowers or anything. It actually did go in the direction of being a lawyer show, like it said it was supposed to be from the start. I actually did like that bit, but
yeah.
I think that's it for me as well.
So let's get to the bad stuff, because everybody is here for the bad stuff. So let's get the elephant out of the room. The story, because there isn't really a story. The effects, sadly.
Yeah, it's more like how else to explain it? It's more like TV shows like Family Guy or Rick and Morty or anything like that, where it's kind of there is supposed to be a storyline, like from one episode to the next, but you can't really tell until you get towards the actual end, and then each individual episode is kind of watchable by itself because you don't really need to know anything from any of the other episodes to watch one, because the plot line isn't established really all the way through. It's kind of like, this is She-Hulk. Let's watch it.
And they do a recap anyway every week.
Exactly. So. It's very much, let's watch a day in the life of She-Hulk, rather than let's watch this story play out. Where are we up to? What's going on? Or this has happened and she's struggling, or this is like, no, she's She-Hulk. She's a badass. She can fight whatever. She can do whatever. I mean, get into the story of the point where she obviously dates this guy, and then he turns out to be a dick, and he's part of a bigger organization. And it's like, oh, right, great. Let's see how this storyline plays out. What they're going to do with the blood. What are they going to do with, the pictures? Why are they blackmailing her? Oh, and that bit was like, okay, interesting. And then it's like,
spoiler, they do nothing with it.
Exactly. There's no payoff. There's no payoff whatsoever. They actually go towards making a payoff, which was going to be shit. They rewrote it and then made it even worse.
Yeah. So everything is like, it's like a big Monty Python sketch with the the Holy Grail, where they have a cop-out ending, where literally cops come to arrest him. It's like that, but not funny.
No, it was just...
A lot of times the comedy sadly fails. I think in the episode with Wong, there's one funny quip that he makes, and that got me laughing.
Yeah.
And literally enough, that was the single thing, you know. And I can't even remember what exactly he said.
You know,
Uh,
it just the whole kind of series kind of seemed like a massive fuck you to all of Marvel fans because especially when you get to the end and then She-Hulk breaks the fourth wall. It's like, yeah, we know it's shit, so we're just kind of really doing whatever we want. So
yeah,
we just kind of wrote this ending. This is what's going to happen. Yeah, we kind of want. Everyone wants Daredevil to come back. All right, we'll put Daredevil in. All right, yeah, well, we want Hulk to come back. All right, we'll have Hulk
yeah,
come back then. It's like, no, not all the time does giving the viewer what they want always the best scenario. Like, I know that sounds weird because it's like, well, obviously the viewers want what they want, but I mean in the sense that everyone lives happily ever after. There has to be some challenge. There has to
yeah,
be some bad shit go on for the characters that we like in order for it to be entertaining. Because obviously these characters are supposed to be people that we love and we feel for, but there's no character development. It's very much how I've described DC films previously, which is it's all action and no character development.
yeah.
And that's why DC, in my eyes, failed with the films, is because they just kind of assumed that we knew who the character was. No character development, didn't really tell us their take on the character, and just went, oh, we'll just throw a lot of shit at them and let them fight it or beat it up, and then everyone will love it. And it's like, no, actually, they won't. Because, yes, we may know who She Hulk is, but we want to know, we need that development, we need that character change over time, like any normal person. If you make them so far distant from what a normal person thinks and feels, there's no relatability. So it's just
Yeah.
shit. It's just
Uh,
simply shit.
And two things that rile me up so much is they mentioned in the final that they made a shitty show
Mhm.
and that everything is they referenced that point, but they kept airing it for 8 weeks, and they knew most people wanted to watch it because of Daredevil. I didn't really give a fuck about Daredevil because I never finished season 1 or 2
Daredevil.
because it got so boring. Uh,
Really?
yeah,
No,
the only season that I finished of Daredevil was season 3.
no. For me, Daredevil was the best, and it's still the best of all of the Marvel TV series.
For me, the best was Jessica Jones season 1,
I like Jessica Jones as well. She's a very close second.
and that's a character you can take.
Yeah, yeah. Jessica
She's
Jones.
female, but she has problems, and she doesn't go around preaching to
Yes,
other characters how
yes.
fucking terrible.
Exactly. But it's not even that. I mean, even if you want a character that's female and
Yeah,
has absolutely stood their own, I'd argue Black Widow. At least within the start of the Infinity Saga. I mean, she stands up there with Thor, Iron Man, the Hulk. Do you know what I mean? Captain America, Hawkeye. She's literally there in the big six, or the big five. I don't know, 5 or 6, however many it is. In the first Avengers Assemble, and she stood there with 2 guns, and she fucking kicks ass. And she does a duo fight with Captain America, and none of them belittle her. None of them do.
yeah, and
Not
it's
not a
it,
fucking Norse god, not a man with a billionaire. No one undermines her. And it's like, how are you going about making this feminist bullshit with She-Hulk when you've got someone who's as simple as they come, a normal human, and she still kicks ass.
and it's so insane because like the Hulk canonically tried to kill himself in the MCU.
Yeah,
Bruce Banner went out to the Arctic and shot himself in the head because he couldn't take that people are hunting him and that he can't have a normal life.
yeah.
And you have this in the first episode where she's like, "My life is so much harder because I get catcalled and everything." You know
Or that was the part where I
why she's talking to a suicide survivor? You know,
exactly that point in the series was probably the point where I thought, now you've just pissed me off.
I thought,
Because it was the biggest point of contention was the part where she goes, oh, and I have to go through quite literally nearly getting murdered every day, and it's like, I'm sorry, for being a woman, Really? Compared to the Hulk? You
Who's
think
not by the military?
yeah, you think you have a threat of being murdered every day for being a woman? Really? Catcalled? Maybe. You are an attractive woman.
Yeah.
However, getting murdered? No, I don't think so. Because I think if most women felt like they were going to get murdered every day, most women wouldn't go out.
Yeah.
The whole point of merely being murdered, to me, would mean that they'd want to stay at home and have their husband protect them. And I don't think the whole feminist movement would be going in the direction it is. Personally.
That was a small point of content because I thought
Small point. Jesus Christ.
because I thought this is the first episode, you know. They're gonna throw this out in the beginning and it probably gets better, you know. And then I was like there for the second episode and it didn't get better. And then I watched the third episode. I was like,
Yeah.
not this again.
Yeah. However, though, there is a bit of I don't know what the right word is. Relief, not really relief. It's more like ironic joy. When you get towards the end and you realise that the Hulk was right the whole way through, because she kicks off at the end when she gets humiliated and proves Banner's point that actually she doesn't know how to control her anger.
Yeah.
And that bit was the bit where I went, fuck you. So it's like you've just kicked off at the Hulk at the start saying, oh yeah, you're fine, you know what you're doing. And actually, you've just gone off and proved actually you don't because you've just got arrested, you dick. But rather than explore that and be like to the audience, ha, you thought we were going to be telling you a story about feminist bullshit. Actually, we're switching it and saying it's not actually as sunshine and rainbows as you think, which would have been a really good twist because most people would have been like, oh, actually, it's not a feminist bullshit show. It's making the point that actually there's a lot you can learn from each other. And that would have been a brilliant kind of revelation. However, they don't explore that. They then make it brilliant and okay because the character breaks the fourth wall and they rewrite the ending, which still makes no sense based on the plot points that went through from the start to that point. It was like you've just basically blatantly said to the audience, you are fully aware that the ending is shit and the way you've written it makes no sense. So, all right, this is the point now where you twist that and you correct the ending and give us what we want. Oh, you just kind of shove Daredevil in there pointlessly and don't actually have him do anything. He just appears. Oh, you bring Hulk to a barbecue with his son from space? What?
Yeah.
It was, they literally had a chance there to rewrite the ending in a way that actually tied the whole story together. Not only could they have backtracked on the kind of force feeding of the feminist bullshit, but they could have done it in a clever way, which was actually, yes, we still believe that women should be powerful and women should be able to contend with men in these particular arenas or whatever. They could have done it in a really clever way and been like, yes, she is badass. However, Hook was actually right.
Yeah.
She needs that from him. The same way they did it, which is why I like the Daredevil episode, when it actually went back on itself and Matt Murdock killed her in the courtroom and was basically the better lawyer. And I really did think they were going to shit on him and be like, no, Jennifer Walters is better because she's a woman. They didn't, which I was pleased about. I thought, all right, okay, one episode where you don't force feed us. Women are always better than men.
I wouldn't say like feminism is bullshit or whatever, you know. It's just how they go around because they literally take a jackhammer and press it into the concrete and hope it builds hard enough in the skull.
Exactly, yeah. I don't mean feminism in its entirety that, any woman trying to say they're equal to men is bad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the way that they, exactly as you said, how they tell the story and try to force feed you.
I'm aware that there are certain areas where women are better, you know, than men.
Yeah, but that's vice versa in anything, though, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. That's the whole point about when I was talking about Black Widow earlier on. It's like at no point did anyone go, why is Black Widow there? She's a woman. She shouldn't be in the fight. No one said that whatsoever. If anything, people were going, look at Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. She's fit and she's a badass.
Maybe cinema sins who
miss that.
maybe CinemaSins, who has a hate boner for Black Widow.
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, the thing is that she is a badass. She's a good. I personally think she's a good character.
Yeah.
And it's not just that. Her whole storyline, ignoring the Black Widow solo film, because to be honest, I don't really know how I feel about that one. But what?
I already forget, it wasn't a terrible movie,
No, I don't think it was terrible. I just
but it's just you forget immediately what happened. And the only gripe I have with the Black Widow movie is that they absolutely butchered a Nirvana song. So in the beginning with a terrible cover rendition. But yeah, back to She-Hulk. I didn't want to see her twerking. I didn't want to see all these bad modern rappers, or what. Maybe they're not bad, but it's just not the kind of rap that I enjoy.
I agree.
I don't give a fuck about Megan Thee Stallion,
Yeah, no.
and they made it a plot point, in one of the episodes, and I'm like, okay, fine,
It was just irrelevant and stupid. It was just like, what are you trying to do? What I don't understand the point of it. Like, are you trying to appeal to the younger generation? Like, I'm trying to be like all hip and cool. Because
Yeah.
if that's the case, you've just done it in a really poor way. Like, it was just so stupid. It was like, how can we make this character and make her an absolute dick? And it's like, no, please, no. Because a lot of the characters interesting, but like, yeah, making a twerk was just like, why, what? No.
I mean, at least it is a post-credit scene, but
Mm-hmm.
still, I didn't want to see that, and I would like to erase that image with bleach
It's not that
on my memory,
they keep
but I
moaning.
can't.
Yeah, but they keep moaning about the budget and saying, "Oh,
Yeah.
well, She-Hulk's expensive." Oh, really? And
She doesn't look
your
expensive.
way of spending that budget was making her twerk. Really? That's your justification of the series being shit? Is the budget, and you had her twerk? Really? It's like you're a fucking idiot. You're just a fucking idiot. I just don't get it. But it's not just the whole of Phase 4 at the minute is just making me want to cry.
I feel sorry for all the overworked CGI artists that have to work on it, that are getting pushed to do overwork and longer because the result is still shit,
I don't know what the plan is though. Like I don't know. I know that Kevin Feige is in charge, but I swear he was in charge for the Infinity Saga. So it's just like I don't understand whether it was Stan Lee and his input that made everything less fucking woke bullshit, because obviously he was alive until I think the end of the Infinity Saga. So it's like, is it that? So they just went wild with it and thought, now he's dead. He's kicked the bucket. We'll just fucking do whatever we want and put everything everywhere, and we'll change the characters a bit. And
Yeah.
and that's why they've kind of gone wild with it. Or is it like you gave each director their own creative freedoms with the particular project that they were on? And it's like,
which isn't a terrible thing,
well, no, it isn't a terrible thing as long as they work within parameters that allow the story to develop in a kind of concrete way. Because at
like
the minute,
it worked in Multiverse of Madness with Sam Raimi, but it didn't work in Thor: Love and Thunder, So
yeah,
there's a kind of mix how much freedom you give it.
but even Multiverse of Madness could have stayed within certain parameters as well. Because
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I really liked the kind of dark theme to it, especially the chase. But then there was stupid moments where it was like, she's chasing you, she's literally just rewritten reality, and you're stood still
there.
waiting for her to get to you, and you don't think she can get past the fucking door.
Yeah.
What? There was just so many moments where it's like, did any of you talk about this? Did any of you just go, what are we doing? And it's all a phase 4 though. I mean, I know we're supposed to be talking particular to She-Hulk, but
Yeah.
the whole of phase 4, I have no idea what direction it's going in, what the point of all of them are, how they're going to interact. And it's like, ooh, we don't want you to know yet. The mystery is all about. But it's like, it's not that. You're making me disinterested in wanting to watch this further because,
in my opinion, the the best was like Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I agree. I did actually really like that.
Although you notice that they cut a storyline, and the end result is kind of messy.
Yeah.
Wonder Vision didn't work for me because they revealed the mystery too fast. So you have 3 very strong episodes.
Yeah, I like the idea that they worked with in WandaVision. I personally like the whole going through the different generations and each
Yeah.
episode I'm watching it going, what the fuck? I actually really enjoyed that concept. And a lot of people didn't because they didn't understand what was going on, but I really did enjoy that. Um I didn't like the ending though. I didn't like the whole kind of Vision versus. I did actually like the. I say I don't like the Vision versus Vision fight. I don't like the entirety of it, but there's a part of it I do like, which is the part about the ship. Where they have the conversation about the ship about, oh, if you were to rebuild the ship piece by piece, would it still be the same ship? That I really like that. Because I think it speaks to the character. But the majority of it, and I don't know. And then going from that to Multiverse of Madness and kind of making her go from she's repenting for basically brainwashing everyone to I want my children and I'm going to rip apart space and time for them. It's like, wait, what? You ended WandaVision like repenting for basically corrupting people's minds. That was kind of the character arc. Why have you gone back to how you were at the start when you just had character development? That's what was like weird for me. And then the whole kind of America Chavez in Multiverse of Madness getting up and it's like, you need to believe in your inner power. And it's like, oh, that's not too bad. But, and she just fucking punches her through a fucking portal. And it's like, right, wait. You're telling me we've gone through the whole rigmarole of running away from her, watching different versions of Doctor Strange die. Doctor Strange, who's supposed to be the best of us, if we quote the ancient one. And the way you defeat Scarlet Witch is by punching her through an interdimensional portal.
Yeah.
By a teenager who doesn't fully understand her own powers. Really? That's the way we went with it? Okay. All
I think
right.
it was okay.
Yeah,
But after, Wonder Vision was okay. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was better.
Yeah.
We had 2 kind of solid shows. And then I think the next one was Loki.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't terrible. Loki was, in my opinion, it wasn't terrible. And it was mediocre at best.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Television.
Yeah, I don't know because Loki, when I first watched it, and I think it's because I liked the character. I had a lot more tolerance for some things that I thought were shit. Now that I've looked back on it, again, a similar storyline with the female coming in and being way better than the man, and then the man breaking down and basically, saying that the woman's great and she's got nothing to change and it's all this, and then it was the weird incestuous plot line that
Well, more like masturbation.
Well,
because-
yeah, however you want to explain it. But
Yeah.
obviously, they're the same person, but they're not the same person. Do you know what I mean?
There's actually a hentai genre called self-cest,
Beautiful.
which is like you making out with your female counterpart here that
Even here-
materializes out of thin air, or you
Even
are
still,
getting
it's
flown.
not you. The very fact that it's another being is like it's not you. It's more or less a twin. Do you know what I mean? You weren't actually. I mean, I get it. They weren't actually birthed from the exact same parent, but
Yeah.
they were birthed from the same parent. Which is kind of weird to say because it sounds logically incorrect, but it is actually correct. But at the same time, it's like if you're suggesting that the DNA makeup of the parents are exactly the same, that would therefore make you twins. That would, if you say it came from the same egg and you came from the same sperm and you just developed differently, you are twins.
Yeah, I guess.
And then,
But yeah, back to Loki. I'm getting sidetracked. I'm so sorry.
sorry. But
Something my mother would particularly want to hear because she knows my YouTube channel. But yeah, Loki.
Yeah. But yeah, so the same thing there. Like, the woman's great and all this and whatever. But yeah, the whole when you get into that and you get to the end and she's the one who fucks it up, or maybe doesn't fuck it up because you don't know what Kang's plan was. But I don't know, it really belittled our Loki. And it was like this character that everyone's grown to love because of his mischievousness, the god of mischief in the first one, and then slowly and slowly you start to see him become more human, essentially, the same way Thor does. And it's like, you see this humanity play out in Endgame where he gets killed, and it's like, at the end he does try to save Thor, and that was beautiful. And then they go back and they give Loki his new lease of life as a kind of different version of Loki, because obviously we pulled him from a different point in time. It's like, okay, but then he gets transported to a point out of time, which is the TVA, I think it is, and it's like, okay, this is interesting, and I like that. And
Can I be honest?
Go on.
I don't give a fuck about Loki.
See,
Maybe because I'm straight, but I never held a high opinion of him.
What's
Not
being
really.
straight got to do with it? I think he's a good character. I like him. I like how he played out in the first, but I didn't like the whole joke about Loki's shit. Like everyone just kind of shits on him, because if you watch how he fights everyone in the first Avengers Assemble, he gives a good fight against everyone, including Thor.
Well, I remember my sister used to swoon over him, or rather the actor, and
No,
so,
I'm not
but I couldn't give a fuck, and
going
I think when he got killed in Infinity War, I was already so bored into the film. It was like just the first 10 minutes, so that it didn't really matter to me, and I think the only thing that I really enjoyed about the Loki series was when he got repeatedly got kicked in the balls by Lady Sif.
Yeah.
So
No, and I do like Loki's character. I just think that they stripped him of. I think they've done it with every single one of the male characters except for Iron Man and Captain America. I think they obviously left for reasons. One died, the other also kind of died because it turned into an old man and died, even though he was already an old man. But you get my point. But then, like for example, someone like who was they going to then? What fucking character was they going to? Loki, yeah. Like Thor, Loki, they've kind of just like stripped the power away. Same with Hulk. It's like, oh, because we made him Professor Hulk, he's not OP anymore because Banner has the mind and he's not as aggressive, so he won't go on rampages and actually beat people up as much as he would have. So it's like,
that was fucking terrible scene in Endgame when he was like pretending to be angry.
yeah,
I cringed in my seat.
yeah. And then it was just awful. And then you had Abomination, She-Hulk, and it's like he looks like a fucking fish now. And I mean, I know it's technically more comic book accurate, but he's not as scary looking. He looks like a big fucking fish bitch. It's just stupid, and it's like it's just there's no fear to it. There's no like scary big creature thing, and it's like I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, and then the next thing was Hawkeye, I believe. And I liked Hawkeye because, well, I liked the character,
I
and
did.
and I liked quite a lot the character dynamic between our two Hawkeyes.
Yeah.
So
No, I actually did. Yeah, I enjoyed Hawkeye. Yeah, yeah.
it didn't really do something particularly great or knocked anybody off their seat, but it was okay, as a self-contained show
I
with a
really,
lot of cool moments and action
yeah,
scenes. So
I really like the actress who plays Kate Bishop. I can't remember what her name is.
Haley Steinfeld, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
She's so fucking talented. I first watched her in True Grit when she was about 9 years old, playing
Really?
alongside Jeff Bridges and Matt Damon. And,
No, the first time I saw her was in Pitch Perfect.
and the thing is, I think when she works with older actors, she is so fucking great,
Yeah.
because she outplayed Jeff Bridges in True Grit, which is a hard fucking thing to do. And And then I saw her in Edge of 17 with Woody Harrelson, and again, this dynamic with an older, more experienced actor was so fucking great. And I don't know, she just bounces off well with older male actors instead of like people of our age.
Yeah.
'Cause
No,
she's in
I
her mid 20s.
yeah, I really like her. I think she's great, especially with Jeremy Renner in Hawkeye. No, I really do like the dynamic between those two. That's another one as well. Another female where we do get her kind of overexcited and I think I can do this, but
Yeah.
it's not too in your face in my opinion. I think she's a great character. I think
Because
she's talented in terms of not the actress. I mean, she is as well.
yeah,
But the character, she's talented. She proves her worth over time, and in the end, she does the right thing by actually getting her mum, arrested. And it's like,
yep,
yeah,
yeah. Because we also get to see that she trained for all this shit, and a lot of times she still fucks it up in a show, you know. She
exactly.
isn't like perfect, uh, and you also see that with like more experienced fighters. For example, when she fights against Black Widow's sister, that she is clearly no match, you know,
Yeah,
and that she would get her ass kicked. Uh,
yeah, but
so
yeah,
just
exactly.
more
Yeah,
character force, and she doesn't go around and wavers her struggles in anybody's face or says that she has it harder, you know.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it also comes down uh to the Hawkeye character itself, you know. While everybody's running around with superpowers or whatever, Hawkeye is just a guy with a bow, you know, doing his best thing that he can.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, yeah, I do like her character. But again, I mean, they did touch on that. Another reason why I did like the episode with Daredevil in for She Hulk was the point where they did fight each other, and I really did think that they were going to fuck up Matt Murdock instantly and have like, yes, see, She Hulk's better than Daredevil, and it's like, okay, they didn't. It's like, okay, fair play, and I think they had to. I think they had to be nice to Daredevil in the sense that they knew viewers would have absolutely tuned out and kicked off if
yeah,
he did brought him in and just to let She-Hulk batter him. Because, fair enough, She-Hulk does do that clap thing and it does fuck up Daredevil, but it does it for a good reason. Do you know what I mean? They set that up from earlier on when she did that clap and it was more of a hurt ears thing. And, obviously Daredevil works up his hearing, so that fucks him. So it's like, okay, good. But it doesn't make it easy. It's not really easy. Daredevil does stand his own against the big green bitch. So it's
yeah.
like fair play. I mean, again, how that kind of ended was a bit too easy as well, though. At the actual end, I think when it got to that point, it was doing really, really well, and then they kind of cut it short, and it was like, oh, they're now friends because she knows it's Matt. She takes off his mask, which is like one thing that no superhero does is take off the other person's mask. Like Joker never takes off Batman's mask because he doesn't actually want to know who it is.
Yeah.
So it just never happens. Like no one takes off Peter Parker's Spider-Man mask. Like it just doesn't
Well,
happen.
except for the time in Spider-Man 2, or the time when Vulture demasked Spider-Man in the comics and realized he just beat up a kid. You know,
Yeah, but
it's
I mean,
so funny when it happened in the comics because Vulture takes off the mask and he's like, "It's just a kid about the age of my grandson. I don't even know who this fucking is, you know," and just leaves because he's feeling bad that he uh like beat up a kid, you know.
it's so weird though because like people would go, "Oh, it's shit. He's just seen it as a kid and fucked off." But it's like that's more real than anything. I think. I think that speaks to the humanity of people. Like
Yeah,
people will go to great lengths to do evil things, but if one thing clicks that relates to them, everything changes. The whole perception of it's like, for example, there now. I heard this psychological trick. Like if you're ever in a situation where you're a hostage and someone's got a gun to you or the people that you're with, if you were to tell them more about your backstory, your family, your children, how you grew up. The more information you can give them just mindlessly, the more they seem to know you, and
Yeah.
the more they seem to know you, the less likely they'll be to kill you, because it's harder to kill someone that you know than someone you don't know.
Yeah.
Apparently.
So, what else was in Phase 4 aside from the shows? Spider-Man Far From Home,
No Way Home on it.
No Way Home, which I liked.
I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed it, not as much as other films, but it was okay. You know, the best thing you can get out of me nowadays when I comment on the MCU is like, it was okay, it was fine. You know,
I'd say it's better than that. If we're saying that Loki and Falcon and Winter Soldier were okay and fine, I'm sorry, but No Way Home is way better than those.
yeah.
I don't think No Way Home is the pinnacle of Phase 4 at the minute.
I can sort of agree to it.
Yeah, I mean the whole bringing Willem Dafoe back and having that whole interaction with Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Willem Dafoe's Goblin at the end, where it just gets so intense and he almost kills him. And that bit for me is the absolute highlight of the whole thing. I think it's just so perfectly done. I think the cinematography of the part just after May dies, when Tom Holland's Spider-Man is kind of in the rain, just kind of looking blankly into space, contemplating his life. I think that was beautifully done. I didn't really like the interactions of MJ, Ned, and the two Spider-Mans in the house. I mean, I liked obviously when they walk through the portal, it's like, oh, they are in the film, and that bit was great. But like the actual conversation just got a bit too much. Although I did like the interaction later on when they're in the construction building thing around the Statue of Liberty and they're having that kind of normal chat. I actually did like the normal chat. That was like, oh, do you ever have web blocks, or like, did it come out of anywhere else? It's like, I thought they were quite funny, comical conversations to kind of fill the gap. The same as like, you guys can't do that, huh? Like when he starts webbing it out. I thought that was interesting as well. But no,
it was a good film filled with very good performances. I
Mhm.
believe my biggest gripe is just that it couldn't evoke any emotional response from me. You know,
You're very emotionless anyway. So
not in its entirety. There are films where I'm like, oh shit, you know, and start feeling stuff. Like, for example, the Aunt May scene, beautifully done. I can agree to that, but I felt nothing.
I think if they'd made Aunt May a kind of older character who's a bit more vulnerable.
There was this good thing where the three, where the two Spider-Men are on the building and it's night and that's like scene.
Yeah.
That was good, you know, and there I felt also something. When our original Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire, talked about his best friend's death, I could feel there the emotion. When Andrew Garfield catches fucking Zendaya, you know, I could feel there the emotion because I understand what happened previously. So
Yeah, that was a nice.
and then came Multiverse of Madness, which is also okay on its own. I think it would have been better if they had let Sam Raimi to more freedom. You know, because you notice early on in the New York scene how he films the passengers, you know, and the street people, that it's very close to him and how New Yorkers would react to that kind of situation.
Yeah.
And that was a big point of the Spider-Man films he did, that the public was always involved, you know, in the action and reacted to it, which made the whole thing more real.
Yeah.
But again, there's shit that doesn't work. Like Wanda doesn't work as a villain, really. I mean, she is terrifying, but that's not the point of.
I think I agree with you with that. However, I think to add to that, I'd say the kind of gap between her being, because her development went from being a villain in Age of Ultron and kind of getting to know her character as a naive young adult, and it's like, okay, interesting. But then Hawkeye redeems her and makes her an Avenger, and I thought that was I really did like that. I thought, that's good. You can go from making bad choices to making good choices, and I thought I like that message. And then it continues from there, and she gets more powerful. She makes decisions. She chooses sides. You see her in Infinity War. Is it Infinity War? Endgame. Endgame it is. Where she picks up. Oh, sorry, no, I've got to Infinity War first. When she obviously has to kill Vision in order to protect everyone. I thought, the weight of that, of having to kill the person you love in order to save the world, like that's fucking heavy. And for her to take that, and you can see the emotion in her when she does it. I really enjoyed that. It's like you are a hero.
Funnily enough, I didn't feel anything during that scene either.
I did.
Because I knew Thanos was swooping in any second at the time stone. He could rewind it, so it didn't mean jack shit,
Yeah, I know, but I mean, the thing is that I think you don't relate to things as much as like I would, because I think there has to be something that you relate to in that situation. So I think in that situation there now, it's like to have been with someone previously that you love intensely and to be with them as long as they have been together. I mean, when did Age of Ultron come out? Fuck now, it's like 2014 or something, if not earlier. It could have got to be way earlier than that, hadn't it? 2000.
The Ultron is, by the way, a film that I find severely underrated. I liked it quite better. I liked it even better than the first Avengers, to be honest.
Age of Ultron.
Yeah, because it looked more
I do.
interesting.
Yeah, everyone shits on Age of Ultron, but I really like Age of Ultron. I just do. But yeah,
The camera work was more dynamic, the colors didn't look as flat and everything.
yeah.
When
I really liked Age of Ultron. I don't
when you
know.
go back to the first Avengers, everything looks kind of flat and the same. It's all highlighted the same
Yeah.
in daytime. So
Again,
and
I like Age of Ultron. I don't know why people kind of shit on it compared to the other films. I really liked it. But
yeah,
with Scarlet Witch, there now her development in Infinity War, she makes that decision. I think it's quite heavy. It was I know I enjoyed that bit. But then Endgame, where she gets her revenge and she rips them apart or tries to rip them apart. And then into WandaVision, where it's like the grief of having to kill him and getting over that is what makes her build that kind of pretend world. I thought that was interesting. But I feel like from that point where she gets her redemption at the end, like she doesn't realise what she's done, that she's gone into a trance of grief. And because of her power, it kind of gripped her. And I think the development from that to Multiverse of Madness is way too quick. I think
and
if
just,
they'd drawn it
I,
out.
I just want to be clear. Sorry, that I'm talking over you. I just want to make clear that I don't want to invalidate your feelings about this or that. Uh, whoever enjoys this, you can enjoy it. It's perfectly fine. Just because I didn't get anything out of it.
Oh yeah, exactly, yeah. Well, that's what I mean. We have different opinions on many different parts of this, but anyway, yeah. So I just think, yeah, the development from WandaVision, from her, yes, she's technically the villain in WandaVision because she created this kind of corrupted world or city, should I say? And Agatha comes in and actually, Agatha's been manipulating her. It's like, well, no, she made the conscious decision to create that world, and it was out of grief. So you kind of feel for her, and you start to realize that the weight of her power is is the very thing that we need to be focused on, because she's not like the rest of us. Yes, she goes through grief like the rest of us, but the way she handles it because of her powers have very dire consequences. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. You know, I enjoyed that kind of plot. But then to get to, I made these made up kids, and now I'm going to rip apart space and time to go through the multiverse to find them, and I don't care who I kill to get there. It's like, but you were just feeling dead insecure because everyone was staring at you thinking you were the villain in WandaVision. I just don't like the jump from one to the other and then, oh, instantly she's the villain. And all of us are supposed to kind of get with that and understand that and feel that. It's like, no, I don't. It feels like we've missed a film or we've missed something in between. If I was to come away from MCU and not have followed it probably as closely as I have, and I was to come back and just watch these kind of one-off, I feel like I would ask someone and be like, "Have I missed something between these two?"
Yeah, because most people, they can't be asked to like watch WandaVision, which is like 9 hours of television, in preparation for a film that's like 3 hours long, you know. That's in total like 12 hours. Because even nowadays, it's super insane to start with the MCU because there are so many films, and I understand many people not wanting to get into it anymore because it's just too much time you would have to invest into it, to understand every like fucking connection plus the comics itself, which have been there since the 1960s with many retcons and whatever shit. Because most people don't give a shit if this character or this character makes their first appearance on a big screen,
Yeah, no, exactly. But yeah, again, it's just there's some things in Phase 4 that I feel like they're starting to rush it and they're trying to pump out too much. And I think for whatever reason they've had this good thing going, and then someone's just kind of gone, "Oh, great, this works. It's a gold mine. Let's just keep copy and paste it." And it's like, no, one.
And now we come to the so far worst of the Phase 4, which is for Love and Thunder.
Is that the worst?
In my opinion, it's the worst. Because it exemplifies the problems that I had with the previous one.
See, I'd watch Thor: Love and Thunder over She-Hulk.
I would too. I had a good time watching the film, It was similar to the first Suicide Squad film, A lot of style, not a lot of substance.
I didn't watch the Suicide Squad.
The original one,
No.
yes, we did in 2016. I think we went with Mikhail to the cinema, whatever, or I went with his friends.
I don't think. Oh no, I might have watched it actually, the original one. Did I watch the original one? Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, I did watch it, but I didn't like it. I thought it was shit. I thought it was really
It was good, and then I took a deep thought about the film and realized it's shit.
No, I didn't like it at all. I thought it was shit.
And similar, it was to like Love and Thunder. I went into it, I laughed, I had a good time, I was entertained, and then I came out and really took a deep think about it.
No, I didn't. I liked Thor: Love and Thunder at certain parts. I actually did like Jane Foster as Thor. I did actually kind of like that. I thought it was interesting. I did kind of like the whole cancer storyline, although I did feel like it kind of touched on that a bit rushed. There's parts that just didn't make sense for me. Giving the kids the power of Thor, I thought was interesting. I don't think it was good. Because it just kind of invalidated every other film. Like, if Thor's been able to do that this whole time, then why has that not been a thing? But then it's like, oh, is it because he had that lightning bolt thing, Zeus's bolt? Is that why? Did he draw power from that? Did he need some sort of otherworldly god power? Like, it just wasn't explained well. And then the whole kind of weird fucking guru shit where he's doing the splits training, and it was like, it was just so forced for me. It was just like you're really trying to force the humor through this. And I don't like the fact that they've made Thor comic relief either. I feel like they've gone so much on the side of like petty comedy than actually telling the story. So it's like if you go back to, for example, the original Avengers, the Avengers Assemble, where the Loki's staff thing starts to corrupt them all, and they're all getting quite heated and serious in the room, and you can see them all interacting with them, and the comedy's gone. It's quite serious. Do you know what I mean? I like
Yeah.
that, and I also liked the part where Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America meet each other in the kind of winter forest and having that fight. And there is a bit of comedy, but it's like dropped slightly where Iron Man's obviously taking the piss, and Thor's obviously very serious. But now we've got Thor as comic relief, and it's just like,
Yeah.
it just
For me,
do it
for me, the big problem was in Ragnarok already uh, the tone of the movie. Because
Yeah.
like Kate Blanchett was so disinterested, her performance was so fucking boring. I think she just took the job for the money. At
Yeah.
least that's the impression I got because uh, I never thought like Hela is hella cool. She's just hella boring.
No, you know what? I liked Hela, but I have to agree that Ragnarok didn't kind of hit as well as it could have. I mean, it's the same as like making stupid jokes, like, "Oh, wouldn't it be funny if we did this?" For example, like Hulk, or should I say Bruce, jumping out the plane to turn into Hulk, and then Hulk doesn't come out and he just splats into the bridge. Like, yeah, that's funny, but I wish you could have done that as like a funny post-credit scene.
Yeah.
I mean,
And in Ragnarok, you have like all this super serious stuff with Hela and her ruling Asgard and killing people and whatever.
yeah,
But hey, let's go watch Hulk and Thor do funky adventures, for like 30 minutes and go back to the super serious stuff. It doesn't match.
exactly. It's
It,
very
it doesn't match.
yeah,
And then in Love and Thunder, you have Gore played excellently
yeah.
by Christian Bale. His performance really stands out.
It does, yeah, yeah,
But again, he doesn't fit into this goofy film.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's very juxtaposed, and it again, yeah, exactly, yeah, yeah. I can't really say much more to that. I 100% agree with that. Yeah, I
Lot of
don't like
plays.
how they developed Thor at all. I really do not like how they developed Thor, and I know that Chris Hemsworth had some play in that because
Yeah.
it's like when like I don't know if you've ever had it where you've been in school and you take a project very seriously, but it's a group project, and then someone goes, stop taking it so seriously, and they start fucking about, and you're just a bit like, can you fucking stop? Like, I actually do take this seriously, and you're kind of fucking about with what I'm working with here, and it's so fucking irritating. It's like, I know you're just trying to have fun, and I know I know I seem like the uptight one, but I actually want to get this right, and I actually do want to do well with it. Whereas they're like, oh, it'll be fine, oh, fuck it, and they're a lot more laid back. I feel like that's what Chris Hemsworth and Taika Waititi.
I think the problem was that they found out that Chris Hemsworth can be a really funny guy, and
Yeah.
so they just put it in a film. That's why you have a lot of improv comedy
Yeah,
in Ragnarok, but at least there, Kevin or whoever was like, stop it, get the scene done.
yeah, exactly. Like
And
I wouldn't mind as much if
and
it was a
and
bit
then
here and there, but like when he's just like the whole thing is him being a fucking jackass. It's like, okay, the character's
yeah,
just a bit
and in Love and Thunder, it's like Taika Waititi and Chris Hemsworth to an extent are like, how much can we muck around,
yeah,
and
exactly,
how much will Marvel let us get away with it?
yeah, yeah,
And that's why it's so much worse because the comedic tone is okay. It works at times. It does have its moments. It looks absolutely fantastic. I think it has the best developed CGI, except from the one scene with the kid. Uh, but Gore himself that feels out of place. It's played too serious and too straight.
It's
Because if they and he doesn't really do stuff that aligns with his villainy, because he hates gods, he wants to kill gods, but we never see him killing gods. It only happens off screen, and we see the aftermath, which could be cool, as a introduction scene, or whatever. We only hear about gore in the first 50 minutes or whatever,
yeah.
and see the aftermath of his doing, and then we get to him. But here, nothing, And then, because he hates gods and he wants to kill gods, he kidnaps children. And I'm like, what?
Which is the very thing that he's doing. He's killing gods for was to protect his own child, which is now dead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the other thing that also bugs me is that is the end. It's like he's gone through killing gods. Oh well, I won't kill you. I'll sacrifice my own life for a god. And it's like, give me your child. And it's like, what? What? So you literally now just stop to give your child to the care of a god for love.
And I mean,
It's like, oh, petty bullshit.
and I mean, Thor, he isn't like other gods. He does care, but he never gets to really prove that. I think it's implied in the last scene where Thor is like, "Fuck off! I'm gonna take care of and spend the last minutes with Jane." I think they tried to imply that here, and that makes Gore change his heart, but it doesn't work. It works on paper, but it doesn't work actually in the film. And yeah, I really came out disappointed out of this film after I gave it a long thought, because like I said, if I would watch it again, I would probably have a good time again.
Yeah.
And laugh at all the stupid shit that goes on. Something that I can't do with She-Hulk.
The whole thing kind of feels like a what if episode, but for a lot of the projects that have happened in Phase 4, a lot of them just feel like what if episodes. Like, what if Thor was a fucking
By the way,
character?
we totally forgot Moon Knight.
No, I knew about Moon Knight. I didn't.
Yeah, but we forgot talking about it.
I actually like Moon Knight.
I liked it too, so
That's why I've not touched on it, because I like it. I've not got anything bad to say about it, and I don't want it touched because I don't want anything bad to say about it.
yeah, but we both said now we liked it, so we can put it off the checklist.
Yeah, yeah. I think with it being, just to talk about it a little bit more, I think with it being cultural, I think it's been done. I personally think it's been done well. It's not too much, it's not too little. I think it's just right, and also the touch on mental health as well. I mean, to do both of those and to keep a very balanced tone, I personally think it's been done well.
And normally we would see fatherly abuse, but this time the abuse comes from his mother.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's a change.
yeah. No, I really do like. I really do like Moon Knight. You have got the comedy in there as well. You've got the kind of, relief parts from it where it's like, it's very tense, very tense, very tense, and it's like, okay, we do have these moments where it's like a little bit more chilled. I do. I like it. I think it's great. I've not really got anything bad to say about Moon Knight. I'll be honest. Yeah, nothing.
So yeah, we have also talked about an hour. I hope it has recorded everything. And we can round about She-Hulk and Phase 4. Would I watch every episode of She-Hulk again? No. I barely made it through the season. I would rather watch Titans, which is a superhero show I hate even more than She-Hulk. At least the first season. Because
I like Titans more than She-Hulk.
Because the writers of Titans proved how incompetent they are for most of the first season, except for 2 episodes that I did enjoy. and those that I did enjoy broke me because it showed me they are competent. Here we get nothing of competence. They, it's no, it's not. It's even worse than incompetence. The writers would have been capable of doing something great and interesting with She-Hulk, even a comedy, something that doesn't explore her mental health or whatever. I would have liked if they had gone into a motivations of turning She-Hulk and stuff. I didn't even mind the comedy direction that that they said they would take, but the problem is the comedy doesn't work. They would have been perfectly fine of creating a good show, I believe, uh, and also just like deep, they had enough money for good effects. Doesn't look bad. It always looks bad, and it even has worse consequences with the introduction of Scar for the future of Marvel or whatever. But yeah, they would have been perfectly capable of doing a good and fine show because in the final, they critique that they made a shit show, and they made a shit show intentionally. Now, also would have liked if they had gone better with the criticism, because oftentimes they just stamp it as, oh, it's male hate, you know. It's just so ignorant of how they go around this, and you get a lot of there are snippets again and again in the She-Hulk show where they show like social media comments and stuff, and it looks really fucking real. The problem is, yeah, those comments exist, but that isn't the whole critique point, but they focus on it, similar to how Disney focused on the racism aspect in the Kenobi show because they didn't want to face the other criticisms.
Yeah.
And that makes me so angry. So now we both are looped into this group of female hating misogynists, you know? Oh, we can't take a female lady.
I think we've been fairly balanced. I think we've pulled up some good female characters.
Yep. Yeah, but that's the thing. The show stamps us as these misogynists,
Yeah.
even though we aren't, you know?
So we can't. We've got evidence now of us in the same recording of us saying there's some good female characters by the same industry that brought us the shit ones.
Yeah. There's Black Widow.
Should we find some male characters that we don't like to shit on just so we can be fully balanced?
There's Black Widow. There is Jessica Jones. There is the other Black Widow. There's Dora Milaje. There's Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. Oh, the Dora Milaje. Oh, I fucking love them. Oh, they're probably my favorite.
There's Agent 13. There's so many characters. There's the female Hawkeye. You know, there's so many good female characters that
you say that as examples and don't even say the name. Just go, oh yeah, that other Black Widow. That other Hawkeye.
Because obviously I hate women, you know. So now, of course, the Dora Milaje, I don't know their singular names.
I don't know that. I know Okoye, but because I think she's badass.
There's Yelena Belova. There is Kate Bishop.
Yeah.
I said the name of Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Your name is Jewel. So give me some leeway here.
We've got a shit ton of male character. What male character don't you like? We've got to be fully balanced here.
And if we draw it beyond just Marvel, we have Stargirl over at DC, which is a female-centered show that's been running for 3 seasons, which is good and doesn't go into the same murky territories of sampling every male person on a planet as a rousing misogynist, with some likable male characters, because so far She-Hulk had basically cocks. They turned even the Hulk into a cuck. And to be fair, there's nothing wrong with being a cuck. You know, it's just you don't have to devalue men to raise women. That's not what feminism is about. To all those blockheaded women out there who believe tearing a man down is female empowerment. It's fucking not. And I know it sounds super stupid because I'm mansplaining here. And yeah, shut up, take your award, and fuck off.
Nice little Ricky face. Memento there.
Yeah. And we're gonna see us in the next Marvel projects. Any closing thoughts from you?
No, I just think that we should have shit on a male character just to make us fully balanced.
Yeah, we're gonna search out the worst Marvel characters, male characters. Among them, Star Fox, who's gonna be played by Harry Styles. Although he already showed up in the Eternals.
Oh
most
yeah,
people,
the Eternals was fucking shite.
most people hated the Eternals. I liked the Eternals. I just don't like Star Fox. If you want a really awful Marvel character with an awful history, who actually was once defended by She-Hulk, look up Star Fox. I tell you, he's the worst. And you're supposed to root for him because he was part of the Avengers. Given his power set, and I won't explain why, you should do your own research. He should be a fucking villain. And he does a lot of murky stuff that other villains wouldn't even dare to dream of. He's also Thanos' brother. But yeah, I hate fucking Star Fox. Please, Marvel. Don't give a fuck about Harry Styles. Just seize this character. Or have him show up and then be brutally murdered with an axe or get his head crushed in with a hammer. I don't give a fuck, you know. There's so many horrible things that I want to do to Star Fox. I cannot explain the hatred I have for this character. But yeah, that's my ultimate closing thoughts. I'm sorry.
No, sorry. I don't have to say it. On you.
So closing thoughts by you. We should do a list of awful Marvel characters.
Male. Male characters. You've done one.
Yeah.
But we need to do MCU characters. Yeah, we can do fucking Eternal ones. Half of the Eternal ones I don't like.
I like the Eternals, and fuck you.
Here we go. Not funny. Ignorant rap.